Hello, Mount Carmel Nation. My name is Aaron Hyler, and I say this all the time, but we are in the final stretch of Mount Carmel season, and we've got a special guest here today. I don't know what he's doing here, to be honest with you. I think school's over, so I hope that's what he's doing, not skipping class today. But we got alumni. We got an early little alumni. Also, co-host Wyatt Knight.
Yeah, yes. I'm back.
Yes, he's back.
Week 2.
Here to stay. Thank you to Mr. Reese, who was our last podcast episode. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from that. But hey, today's episode, we have Matt Malloy. Matt Malloy, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Good. So Matt Malloy, could you tell us what are you doing here today?
This
podcast, right?
Yeah.
This
you guys
podcast.
asked me to come out. I haven't been back to Mount Carmel since I graduated.
Is this your first time?
Yeah, it's my first time back.
Oh wow.
So graduated last year. So this is
wow.
Thanks for having me back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about that. Has there any big changes? Any big feelings? Anything? How are you feeling?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Just carrying on. I mean, I noticed down in the basement they put some. They changed up the ceiling.
They renovated.
Fixed,
yeah.
So there's no more hanging wires.
No.
That looked a little different. But no, it's the same people. It's the same feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what matters, right? I just got to talk to Miss Norris because she'll be retiring, so it was nice to see her. Just probably be my last time seeing her while she's a teacher here. So that was nice. Yeah.
Nice. Well, okay. Well, I have to address it. The facial hair. Okay. Well, all right.
Yeah.
All right. What is that? Ginger? Is that ginger there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I like it. Like to see it.
I'm a redhead Irishman.
Hey, man.
I started growing it out. And,
let it grow.
We're keeping it, I guess. So,
let it grow.
Yeah.
Let it grow. You out of here. All right. So, why I brought you here today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just like to talk about Matt's journey from Carmel to Nebraska, and now being a sports commentator for Nebraska. What's that been like?
It's been great. I just wrapped up my first year at the University of Nebraska Lincoln. Big school, whole lot bigger than MC, that's for sure. But all that means is the sports I'm covering are, very competitive, right? It's a Big Ten school, so I believe I covered 33 games. I was on the mic, whether that was play-by-play or color commentary. Did hockey. That's a club sport there. Women's and men's basketball. I actually traveled back here to Chicago or Evanston. I got to call Nebraska versus Northwestern and watch and commentate Angelo Cheravino, who's also an MC grad. I got to see him play. So just calling a bunch of different sports. Just pretty much doing what I was doing here at Carmel, just kind of on a bigger stage. Yeah, I'm loving it.
So how does it feel? You like it?
I love it. Yeah,
really?
I love it. I mean, pretty much my day-to-day is just writing a story about Nebraska athletics or getting ready, preparing to call a game, and then my weekends, Friday through Sunday, is usually just out in a press box or press room interviewing somebody, just something along the lines of that, yeah.
Do you have a favorite sport to commentate?
I love basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball is my favorite, it's less guys than football, so you can kind of dive deeper into a player's story. Even when I was here at Carmel, I loved calling MC basketball and going along with them and the run they went on last year. I was actually I was a manager for the team, so for away games I would travel with them, and then for home games I would be up on the track calling games with my guy Marty Mann. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
How does their broadcast compare to Media Group?
Yeah,
a lot bigger.
Oh, Nebraska's? I'd say a lot of what I do is radio. And here at Carmel, obviously, we did everything on YouTube, so that was a big adjustment for me, because when I started calling games at Nebraska, I would still be, in the back of my mind, I would think that the viewers at home had had something to watch to go along with my commentary, but doing radio, you really get down to the meat and bones of commentary and play-by-play work, so definitely not, Joe Buck level at it yet. Definitely not there, but we're getting there. We're working hard and moving along. So, and there's a lot of great people out at Nebraska. I'm very happy with my decision and going to the journalism college out there. There's a lot of great people, professors and my peers, my students and everything like that. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with my decision.
How was that jump from high school to college?
It's different, I mean, my first semester, it was hard to adjust at first because I was so used to seeing the same people every day. Here at Carmel, you just get in such a routine where it's very hard to change that up and try to find a new routine, if you will. And so I no longer had to wake up at 6:30 every morning to get to my 8:05 class with Mr. Antonetti. Now I'm, I could sleep in if I wanted to, right? It's college, you don't have class, but it's up to you to get up early, get your work done, and then stay on top of your classes, right? And it's just like any other adjustment. I will say though that my major is a little bit different from other majors where I got to do stuff right away. And I think if you choose a different path, you might have to wait until your second or third year to really start taking classes in your major and doing work outside of classes with your major. But I'm already getting thrown into the fire, right? I got 2 feet in right away. And that's what I wanted. When I started looking for places to go my junior and senior year of high school, I wanted a place that wouldn't hold me and have me wait until I was a junior to start calling games. So Nebraska, their slogan, our slogan at the J School, the journalism college, is "Do from day one." That's one of their slogans. So I think that alone kind of tells the story of they love it when students come in and they want to work right away. And I definitely wanted to do that. I didn't want to sit around in my dorm. So yeah, I got to work and it's been great.
So your major is journalism.
So I'm a double major in sports media and communications and broadcasting. So those are my 2 majors, and I have a minor in communications as well, but you never know, that might change down the road. But yeah, still working things out. But broadcasting and sports media, really hammering those in.
So back to your time in Mount Carmel, when did you find that interest and that passion that you knew that you were going to do that later in life?
Well, I think just like any other kid, I would, when I was younger, I would wake up super early before I knew what sleeping in was, right? I just wake up super early and go down into our basement and turn on SportsCenter. And I mean, this would be at 6 a.m. It'd be like 2 hours before I had to leave to walk to my grammar school down the road, which is St. John Fisher. Go Falcons! But yeah, I mean, I would just sit there and watch SportsCenter, and that definitely got me involved, or at least piqued an interest in not, of course, sports, but also the media around sports. And then, I've just been a huge Blackhawks fan and White Sox fan my whole life. So when I got here to Carmel, I believe it was October of my freshman year, so I was about a month in. I asked my uncle, Dean O'Connor, as many people, but my uncle Dan O'Connor. I said, "Hey, who do I have to talk to get involved with the media group here?" And he got me in contact with Tony DiFilippo, Mr. Nice. DiFilippo, and I really don't even remember what was said, but before I knew it, I was in the press box on a Friday night calling Mount Carmel versus Brother Rice. I was on the call for varsity football.
Freshman? You were a freshman?
As a freshman, yeah. Wow. Matt Kensinger was on the call with me. Okay. And then after that, things got moved around, and then I was on the roof rather than the press box. I was calling games. I was on the mic alone, so I didn't have a color commentator. I was just kind of handling both. And I would call a game Friday night and spend next week usually interviewing a player or trying to talk to Coach Lynch just to get some quotes for the game. But that definitely, I just hit the ground running from there. Yeah. And I called games all the way up until I graduated last year.
Yeah. And made it your own. You made it your own style too.
Yeah.
So would you say there's a mindset that you need to be the broadcast announcer that you kind of had freshman year, or is it you just go with the flow?
I think I knew even as a freshman, I knew that, okay, yes, this is the Caravan Broadcast Network, and this broadcast is representing Mount Carmel High School. But I knew very early on that I could not be as biased as just a fan in the stands. I knew that I had a responsibility of, okay, if there was a questionable call, then I'm not going to complain. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Just things like that. It's kind of a 60-40 kind of thing you have to do where, yes, of course you want Mount Carmel to win, but you have to call a fair game. You have to call it as it is. And I called a few losses up in the booth. I can remember some games that were definitely hard to call because we weren't able to get in the end zone or weren't able to put the ball in the hoop, right?
Yeah.
But I had to, I had to call it for the other team as well because I always had it in the back of my mind. I always had it, when I was calling a game, most of our viewers are probably fans of the other school.
Right.
If we're playing Loyola, they're all the way from Wilmette, right? I mean,
right.
There's probably a good handful of fans that didn't want to make the trip down here to Woodlawn. So they're probably sitting at home with the game on their TV. And if they're listening to the game and hear me and I'm just super anti-Loyola and all pro-Carmel, then that's not a great viewing experience.
Wow.
So you have to think of it through every lens you can. You have to put yourself in the viewer's shoes. And I'm definitely, like I said, I'm not a professional broadcaster yet, but that is definitely one of the pillars of play-by-play work is you gotta keep your fandom under control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you say Mount Carmel academically prepared you for college or
My gosh. Yeah, I was taking AP classes my freshman year. I took AP World History with Mr. Messino, which most students probably don't know who that is nowadays. But I took that class with them, and I took AP classes, was on the honors track, did all of that, and definitely in some moments you might think like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to pass this test, study for it, and do all this other work outside of classes, all these clubs I'm in, groups, and all that. But just getting it done and consistently staying active for all 4 years, it definitely instilled a work ethic in me that I've taken to Nebraska. So, my classes went great this year, but obviously I can't. That's not just because of me. That's because of the teachers I had here, and because of the work I put in for 4 years here, and it definitely prepared me to be a college student.
Could you describe one of your sports journalism specific classes and maybe your favorite one? Or?
So I took a writing class. For AP style, Associated Press style. It's kind of like the rules and guidelines that everybody follows when it comes to journalistic writing. So if you were to read something from most publications, most newspapers, they'll be following that style. I really like that class because Mr. Tim Baffo, he taught me a lot of those rules when I was here for the 2 years I took his writing class and his newspaper class. But actually finally, drilling those rules in, it definitely made me feel like I was taking the next step. So that was for writing. And then I haven't done too much, haven't taken any classes yet that are really focused in on just play-by-play announcing. I'll have to wait to get to those, but from what I've heard, they're gonna be great, and I'm gonna learn a lot. So,
what would you say is one of the hardest things that college has to offer in your experience?
Well, if you're like me, you're 8 hours away from home. You're living on your own, and mom and dad aren't there, right?
Yeah.
You're on your own. You're independent, and obviously there's good things about that. There's bad things about that, but juggling that and learning to live on your own and be independent, it's difficult for anybody, right? Because everybody grows up with someone there to wake you up, right? So if you keep ignoring your alarm, I think most people's parents might say hey, get to school. So, and that's just one example, obviously. But no, it's difficult, right? And not having the same group of friends you saw every day, and You don't get to see your siblings, right? I have 3 sisters, so I miss them a lot. And it's just a new chapter in your life. But you got to find the good things. You got to keep a positive mindset. And if you can do that, then you'll be fine. Yeah.
Nice.
That's my advice 1 year into college. So
1 year into college. That's good. So what kind of legacy do you think that you've kind of left? I know you've only been gone for a year, but one of it's still up there. One of the quotes that you said, guys, I won't be here next year. And I hear that a lot when I was doing this podcast and being doing things around the school. Do you think you have left a legacy? If so, what do you think that legacy is?
I think everybody that graduates from here does leave some sort of a legacy because whether you gave a younger guy a ride to school, whether you helped somebody with their homework in the commons, or held a door open for somebody, right? Like, they're gonna remember that. The younger guys are gonna remember that. And I think the fact that you guys invited me to come back here in the first place, that alone just kind of speaks to the brotherhood we have. You know, where we all live. Some of us live in a different state, live in Indiana. Some of us, we don't live in the city. Some of us are right in the heart of the city. And it just doesn't matter, though, because we all come here. This is the one thing we have in common. And as far as the legacy I left, I don't know if that's up to me, how that's looked at. But I hope that when people tune into one of our broadcasts, or even you guys, the ones that put on the broadcast, I hope I at least taught you something. I hope I at least left something, and that's why the 4 years I was here and all 4 years I was in media group, I was just so kind of a perfectionist about it at times, because I knew that there was going to come a day where, okay, you got to move on, right? Like, you're not going to come to school here every day. So I guess in a sense, I thought that I had a clock on me, right? And it was constantly ticking down. And I tried to use up as much of that time as I could. So I hope I did.
Yeah.
I'm glad with what I did here. But, yeah, now, I watched a few broadcasts. I watched Fight Night. I love Fight Night. It's a great tradition. And obviously I was at school at the time, so I couldn't actually go in person. But just to tune into that, I'm 2 states away, an 8-hour drive away, and I can still pull this up on my phone, and it just reminds me of where I came from. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've definitely been a role model to, I think, at least us in the media group.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did you have any role models when you were an underclassman?
Nice question.
Man. Trying to think of older guys. I gotta I gotta start with my family. My dad didn't go to Carmel, but he went to Marist back when it was an all-boys school. But yeah, my dad is without a doubt, the number one guy I look up to. Whenever I have to make a tough decision or anything like that, he's the first person I go to. And he may have not gone here, but he's for sure, a great leader that I look up to. As far as guys that went to Carmel here, though, my grandpa, Frank O'Connor, he actually passed away before I came in here as a freshman.
Right.
But he was just a huge guide for me in coming here. And I probably didn't know it, but some things he did and said were meant to kind of nudge me over here to come here to school. And looking back on it, I'm so thankful for that. And then my uncle, I already mentioned him, my Uncle Dan O'Connor. He actually didn't say much either about, you have to go to Carmel. Nobody in my family really said anything like that, but things here and there, giving me a ride to Gately Stadium back when that's where Carmel used to play their home games for football. Giving me a ride there, or coming here for a basketball game. I don't know. Now that I'm bringing this up and thinking about going to those games, just everybody there, Yeah, but my grandpa, my uncle, my dad, those 3 right there, they totally just kind of paved the way for me to come here in the first place. And then it was up to me to leave a legacy, as you said. It feels strange saying that, but
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 you're alumni, yeah. Wow.
Do you think you'd be back here this early, right after college, right after your first and 2 semesters?
I didn't really know when I would come back. I mean, once I heard Miss Norris was retiring, I definitely wanted to make a point to come and see her. But I was able to do that today, so I guess I wasn't. I guess, I didn't think I'd be coming back so soon, but I mean, just walking in here in the first 5 minutes, I saw a bunch of familiar faces. So it's a great feeling because when you're here and actually doing it like you guys are right now, you think about the homework you have to do, the practice you have to be at on time. I got somewhere to be on Saturday, like in all these things just that revolve around Carmel. And then it's the strangest feeling in the world where, that Wednesday morning after the Tuesday night that you graduate, you wake up and you're just like, what do I do now? Because for 4 years, all you're working towards is getting that brown cap and gown and, walking to get your diploma. And then after that, you feel a little bit like, you're leaving something behind, right? It's just like any other high school graduation, but Mount Carmel isn't just any old high school.
Right.
So it's got a special feeling to it. I'm glad to be back, though. I'm really glad you guys asked me to come back because, just seeing Miss Norris and everybody, all these other teachers I had, it's great to catch up with them.
So I don't know how this question might come off, but you talked about your family and the legacy they left. But do you think if you did not go to Mount Carmel, do you think that you would kind of still have or be going down the same path that you're on right now?
So I'll start by saying that when I was a kid, I wasn't wearing brown and white.
Right.
I was walking around, with a Marist Red Hawk hat and a red and white hoodie.
I'm so sorry about that.
Because my grandpa on my dad's side, he was in the first graduating class at Marist, which is down much closer to me.
Okay.
A little further south where I live. So it would have been a shorter ride. I probably would have known more people. Yeah. And then obviously the biggest difference would have been it's a co-ed high school.
Right.
And during my time here at Carmel, we actually made a documentary about not why male education is better or anything, but why the differences of it have certain positives and have certain benefits. And the first benefit I think of is that brotherhood. I don't think I would have had a stronger connection to Marist. I don't want to single them out, but really any high school I would have gone to, I don't think I would have had as strong of a love for the school I attended, and the passion that these people here ignited in me to then find an excitement for journalism. Yeah. I don't know if I would have found that someplace else. I could be majoring in something completely different, but what I'm majoring in right now and hope to eventually find a career in, and then just who I am as a man. I mean, I would be a different person. I don't think that's a crazy stretch. So, but yeah, as a kid, I was definitely not wearing brown and white.
That's
and then
so sad.
I think somewhere around 5th grade, maybe a little bit after that, and definitely during COVID, that's kind of when I made the switch.
You got saved.
I said, I told my mom one day at dinner, I said, I think I want to go to Carmel. Right. And she quietly said, oh, okay. But she told me years later, she's like, I knew that that was the right decision for you. So, yeah.
So to that point, do you think there is any type of skill or any type of value that you've learned, adapted in your time or in your experience as a male and as a male and man in this society?
I think something you learn here is that I think something you learn here is that it first and foremost you got to show up. I'm stealing this right from my Uncle Dan, who gave the faculty address at the graduation, which would have been a week ago, I believe.
Yeah.
His speech was kind of centered around just showing up. And I've seen that in the past year that I've been out of Carmel. I mean, guys go off in their different directions, right? I have Christos Demas and Leonard Siegel and Marty Mann. All three of them went to Notre Dame, and they were kind of up there GPA-wise, I guess. And, I made the decision. It's like, no, I'm actually going to go to this public university that's a lot further away in South Bend, Indiana.
Right.
But as a man of Carmel, I know that I can always lean on them. I can always depend on them, and they can reach out to me, right? I've stayed in touch with them, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that that brotherhood never goes away. Even if you do feel like you're not as connected, all you got to do is call up, one of the guys you graduated with, or even guys like you who are still here. I know that I still have that connection, and I don't know, that's definitely something special about this place.
Nice.
Do you have a favorite broadcasting memory at Mount Carmel?
There we go.
Well, I'll start with the one that I guess most people would assume my answer to this question would be. It's got to be my call against Batavia my freshman year.
We just all know.
Yeah, I think it was the second round of the playoffs. I don't even remember at this point, because the team went on to win 4 state championships in a row, so that year kind of got left behind. But yeah, I'm a freshman up on the roof. I obviously really want Mount Carmel to win this game, but I can't show that. And Denny Furlong, I don't even remember the call. He runs it into the end zone off a jet sweep or something like that, and hand it off to him, and I just go crazy, start yelling a little bit, and then I kind of bring myself back to it. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm being a little too over the top right now. I let a huge voice crack go through, which I guess people love to bring up, and I don't mind hearing it, right? I think it shows how much I cared at the time, and then I just kind of started saying a bunch of one-liners. I think I said something like, "Good luck next year, Batavia," because I was trying to get right up to that line of, okay, you can't be mean and say, but you want to, have a kind of persona of like, oh, I'm being little smart with it. And so I said something like that, and I said Mount Carmel moves on to the next round of the playoffs. And to make a short story long, I mean, just that whole sequence, that whole game, that whole night. After that, I remember that drive home very vividly, and telling my mom and dad, I'm like, I am coming back next fall and calling games. Like, this is totally my thing. So if there was another memory I had, I then went on to call. I then got a partner, because I did that game alone, and a bunch of others too. And then Christos Demas, a very good friend of mine and the valedictorian of my class of last year, he got in the booth with me, put a headset on, and I could refer to him pretty much at any point in the game, and he would just we had a great thing where it was just like the two of us were having a conversation while watching a football game. That's really what it felt like, and that was great to have. And then Marty Mann, my first cousin, my guy, Marty Mann, he stepped in, I think our junior year. I really can't remember, but he came in along the way, and we started calling basketball games together.
Nice.
And I remember last year when Brother Rice, or the school that shall not be named, they came up here to play a game, so a home game for us, and Marty and I were just on our game that night. I mean, it was probably the best broadcast the both of us had the 4 years we were here. So, and obviously a shout out to Danny Moody, who was our camera guy, and James McCormick, and Logan Wagner. Leonard Siegel was helping us out. I mean, gosh.
Diego Palma.
Diego Palma. I mean, there's just so many names, right? And everybody came out to help. And everybody wanted to be there too, which was the best part about it. We wanted it to be more than just a camera on the court. Like, we wanted there to be a pregame show. We wanted to have, graphics with stats on them, because when you're at home on a Sunday and you're watching the Bears play, or even if you're just watching any broadcast, right? Like, I think you don't notice how much work goes into that, right? It takes a lot of people to get those graphics up and have all these camera angles and just a wealth of knowledge about what's happening down on the court or the field or whatever. And we wanted to be those guys. We wanted to emulate what we saw on CBS and ESPN, right? If you go ask Marty Mann right now, I mean, he wanted us to sound like I could really bring up, just any great pair of broadcasters that there have been throughout history. Like we wanted to really sound like them. So we did our best, but yeah, that Brother Rice game, I'll never forget that one. And then, of course, the Batavia call, which I guess is a funnier moment than anything, but yeah.
So what's the future for Matt Malloy? What do you want to do specifically in broadcasting?
Well, I guess I'll have to take a small step back from calling games because I was just promoted to be an assistant editor at the newspaper I write for, the Daily Nebraskan. Thanks. So I'll be covering Nebraska football, which, if you ask Coach Anto, they used to be pretty good, and they've fallen off a little bit. But I'll be covering them. I'm covering the baseball team right now, writing for them, for most games. I'll be doing a lot of writing. I'll be calling a lot of games, and if there's anything out there, maybe I'll do some more podcasting, radio talk show. Maybe photography is in it for me, But I know for sure that there's something for me within the very chaotic field of sports media and broadcasting. So I'm just kind of looking to make my place there. Yeah.
So do you have a favorite broadcast announcer or sports commentator?
That's why I paused for a second when I was talking about Marty.
Yeah.
Marty and I talk about this all the time. I think Mike Tirico is definitely our favorite guy.
Nice.
We've had, I wouldn't say we've had arguments about it, but we've talked about this a lot for sure. Yeah. Mike Tirico, I could talk about a lot of them, but
go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously everything with Chris Collinsworth and the whole Patrick Mahomes and all that stuff. I mean, I really like Chris Fowler. He does a lot of college football work. I believe he calls most primetime games on ABC, so a lot of SEC football games and all that. Connor Onion is another one. He actually went to Nebraska, I believe. I might be wrong on that. I'll have to double check. But a few years older than me, actually. He's probably a bit older than that. But he does great work. I don't know. That's the thing. Like I got a list. I got a list. I got a list I could go down for sure. But yeah, I always come back to Tirico and all the work he does. And then Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan is probably my favorite basketball. I believe he was on the call last night. I was watching. Or no, he wasn't. Sorry about that. But he calls NBA playoffs and all that. Jim Nance is another one. Does the Masters. That guy does everything. Yeah. But yeah, just there's so many guys.
Keep rolling.
Obviously, it would be a dream come true to be a name in that list. But I know there's a lot of work ahead of me if I want to get there. So
yeah.
And Nebraska definitely has the resources and people to get me there, though. So yeah.
Was there any sports that you did at Nebraska that you didn't really get to do at Carmel that you really liked, that really stood out to you?
So I believe during my time at Carmel, I only called 2 baseball games. I called them with Louis Chiapetto. He's a year older than me. I called a lot of softball games and a handful of baseball games at Nebraska. And for those who don't know, both programs are doing great right now. And doing more work with that, I think it's made me realize that baseball really is if you can do play-by-play work for baseball, then that tends to carry over to other sports, which is strange because I started on football,
right,
which is actually a sport that most people have to work up to and build sort of the tempo and the confidence, if you will, to eventually call football games. Baseball is really the one where people dial in their expertise on play-by-play broadcasting. So even just the small amount of work I've done with that so far, it's made me like grow my passion for it even more, which I would have found hard to believe a few years ago, because I was definitely in the thick of it, calling games left and right. But now I'm really doing it at the next level. So yeah.
Nice.
Are there any legendary Nebraska moments that you got to call yet? Or?
That's a good question.
I called. I've called a walk-off here and there in the past few months. I called a buzzer beater for Nebraska women's basketball. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then they went on to lose the game in overtime. So moments like that kind of get washed away. Yeah. But geez, what else? Oh, I called the student radio station we have, 90.3 KRNU. We cover pretty much all high school championships in those brackets, because unlike Illinois, if you go out in Nebraska, it's really all there is Omaha and Lincoln. And Omaha just doesn't really have kind of the facilities to host events like that. Mm-hmm. Lincoln is like the perfect spot for it. So they have their girls and boys state basketball tournaments. They have their football tournaments out there. So I got to call a girls state basketball semifinal game, and there was this game-winning layup at the last second, and I was very proud of that call. I put it up on my Instagram, and that got some views. And I got some feedback from some parents of the players or from that school, and they loved it and that content. So nice. Work like that definitely makes me want to keep doing stuff like that. So that was one moment, a Nebraska moment that I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've been on the radio a lot. How is that different from being just on the YouTube broadcast? Do you have to talk a lot differently, or?
When you're on radio, it is completely up to you to paint the picture of what's going on. If you're just listening to a game on the radio, you don't know what the environment looks like. You don't know if there's clouds that might come in with rain. You don't know what the wind looks like if it's a football game. I think people drastically underestimate how much wind impacts a game, especially when you're in a college football stadium where some of them are built like a bowl, and so wind is just, it's blowing all through the place. But yeah, things like that, you have to be so descriptive of what's going on, and when a play is made, you really got to be on point, But also, even on radio, you have to build a sort of personality, right? People aren't going to enjoy listening to a robot call a game. Yeah. You gotta have some, I don't know what word I would use for it, but you have to play it off kind of cool. You have to not overshow that you know a lot about what's happening, because obviously you want to study as much as you can about the two teams that are playing and where they're playing, what it means and all that, but kind of holding that back and only giving information out at certain points throughout the broadcast, that's that translates through radio perfectly, because on TV you can just have a graphic made to show something, and that pretty much speaks for itself, especially if it literally reads out what stat or whatever you're trying to show to the viewer. So yeah.
So Matthew, I hope you watch the podcast. And this is the moment where we close. So I have a series of questions for you.
Okay.
Rapid fire questions. First of all, thank you. That was some good talk. First of all, before we get to the funny questions. So, what word would your friends use to describe you?
Jeez, I don't know. I think that depends on what friend you're asking.
What friend am I asking?
Yeah, it depends on what friend you're asking. But I don't know. I'd say. Jeez, I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Is that an acceptable answer? I
don't know. That's
because I think I'd be curious too.
Okay, what your friends might say.
If you ask somebody like Christos or Leonard, I don't know what they would say.
What would you hope that they would say?
Oh, I'd hope they would say, I'm passionate about what I talk about, and that definitely gets the better of me sometimes. Oh, man, I can't tell you how many times in high school I'd get in Leonard Siegel's car and he would start playing a song and I would look over at him like, what are you doing, man? And so I'd get so passionate about, music and stuff like that. But yeah, I just couldn't sit there and not say something. You know what I mean? Something like that, yeah.
I mean, so to that question, would you say you're an introvert and an extrovert?
Jeez. I don't know. Again, I think I'd say here I was an extrovert. Definitely reached out to people, got to know as many people as possible, especially in my class. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, there's times I guess I'm quiet, but yeah, no. For when I was a student here, definitely tried to talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you think your kind of your role and major kind of add on to the either or?
Yeah, it's hard to be a journalist and not ask questions.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I'd say with what I'm doing, you have to be extroverted a little bit.
College has you at a very different schedule. Would you say you're more of like a morning person or night person? Like, when do you get your work done?
Yeah, I get my work done at night. Because waking up that early for 4 years, I think when I got to college, I was like, oh, I can wake up at 9 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. Right? It's something like that. But yeah, definitely more of a night person.
If you had a theme song, what theme song would your TV show have?
Be Jump by Van Halen.
Okay, wow.
And I have a feeling a lot of people watching this know what I'm talking about. So yeah.
Well, good.
Do you have any advice for someone trying to find their own college, find their own spot? Someone at Carmel or anywhere? What would you say to them?
I'd say that everything is about balance, right? No matter what you choose to do, because the world really is your oyster, and you're gonna realize that when you step on a college campus. You really you can spend your time really however you want to, but balance is where it's at. You got to balance your classes with, for me, like it'd be calling games or writing articles, stuff like that. But and you can start that right here. That's what I did at Carmel, just learning how to balance everything. And if you balance things for long enough, then eventually, you will find your place wherever that may be. Yeah.
All right. Our final question, the most popular question. We get a lot of feedback on this. I don't know where we got this question from. There's a lot of, sayings of where we got this question from. But if you were a sandwich, what sandwich would you be?
Man, I think I would be a PB&J Uncrustable.
Come on now.
Uncrustable though.
Whoa. Uncrustable.
Uncrustable.
Oh,
I'd be an
you
Uncrustable.
lost me there, man.
Uncrustables are great, man.
I guess.
And you know what? I'll say I'm a toasted Uncrustable.
Okay, I can do toasted.
Put it in the toaster.
Toast, I can do that.
I'm probably just saying that because that's
It's easy.
Yeah.
Hey, if people ask me that,
well,
I don't know what to say.
That's probably the sandwich I eat the most. So
PB&J.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, that's the conclusion of the episode. I want to thank, first of all, Matt Malloy. Come on.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
This is basically your baby here. Oh my God, this whole kind of podcast.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Really come full circle.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Come on now.
We're in a fancy room now.
Well, thank you guys for having me back.
Did you? I don't think you did a video when you were doing the podcast. I don't remember.
I did one. So this opened,
right.
The last month I was here, last year, right before I graduated. But I was able to interview my grandma.
Your grandmother,
O'Connor.
right? Yeah.
Kathy O'Connor.
Oh,
she works in the spirit shop, so I can't believe I haven't brought her up. But she's great. So I got to sit down with her, and
all the equipment was here. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Nice. I think this is a great opportunity to mention Media Group, all the things that we're doing, things that we're trying to, ideas that we're bringing up, the podcast. This is Wyatt's idea to bring it. He set this up. So thank you, Wyatt. Thank you to Miss Minky, who coordinated this whole podcast, who allowed us to be here today. Thank you to our producers, Lucas Rios, who's in the other room, switching cameras for us. So, this has been a great conversation. I hope we get a lot of good views on this. Hopefully your friends, watching some. This is your first time back at Carmel.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll.
It's going to be on Instagram. They should see it.
Yep.
And they see Matt Malloy with the hair.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's the end of the episode. Matt Malloy, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Dun, 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 dun.